Mr. Haokip,
Yes, yes.
what is your first comment? What is your first comment on the violence that has taken place in More? Mass violence.
Actually, it started out of the violence by state forces. The police or the commando uh, had been had beaten up one woman, and after injury, the mob got infuriated, and then they burned down some of the remaining houses that has been left already. So first, to bring peace in Manipur, you have to control the state forces who have been complicit in inciting violence. We have enough video to show that the state police forces has been a part of this violence. Instead of preventing the violence, they have become a part of a certain community. That has to stop. And even some of the mainstream media that came to Manipur shows that the state forces, they have been fighting along with one community only, instead of creating a buffer and
जरूर
trying to dispel
हाँ
both
एकदम
forces. So this has been going on, and unless you stop the state forces to be a part of certain group, then you can't bring peace. So the state forces has to be neutral for the first place, and uh, you know this can be
Reports in
only done by the
newspapers.
chief minister himself. Unless the
Mr.
chief
Haokip,
minister
there were
is
reports in newspaper. There were outsiders, some 700 Myanmaris. Is it correct?
I have no idea. There is a civil war going on in Myanmar, and More is a border town. There can be a fighting between because it's just few meters away that crossing More is Burma, a Burmese territory. So we can't rule out. But I don't think that they would be intentionally crossing deep into the territory of Manipur. I don't think that the Burmese and other kind of forces would be deeply involved in Manipur crisis, because the PDF, and some other transitional government that has been formed by Aung San Suu Kyi parties, they have instructed that the forces should not be involved in Manipur crisis. So it's very clear that the PDF and other forces would not be involved in Manipur crisis, but maybe some local militias or other village volunteers, if there is any violence, could be involved in that. But how do it started? It started when the state police forces inflicted certain, damage upon the More people, and they infiltrated the women folk and others, and they resorted to violence and arson of some of the leftover houses in More. And look into the kind of fighting from morning yesterday in Truzanpur, Bishnupur border area. It's basically the state forces that is involved. The Kuki volunteers fought with the state forces, from the other side. So the state forces, the state police has been deeply involved in this conflict, and the Kuki community feels that they are fighting the Manipur state government. So that has to change. Unless the police forces are, thought to be neutral, and you know, they are acting not on behalf of one community only, then only that time, then slowly we can bring some kind of peace in this state. So that
Okay.
order can only come with the
Okay.
order from the chief minister. So the chief minister has to give an order that the state
I
forces
think
should
you
be
made a
neutral.
point on which I would like to get Prasanajit and Mr. Athuba in. You are saying that the Kuki community feels that they are fighting the state government. Athuba, is that the clear picture? Is that the feeling there, that they are fighting the state government? And Mr. Haokip said that it happened as a sort of a retaliation. The police forces
no,
misbehaved.
actually,
Prasanajit ji?
no, yes, I can hear you. But
Yes,
I
Prasanajit
thought
ji.
you were
Yeah, to you.
okay. So as I have been saying this, you see, the state forces do not have a kind of oversight that it should have. And we have seen that the DGP was changed, at the very beginning of this entire conflict that has been created. So the state forces, when they operate, and central forces are also there on the ground. There should be coordination between the two. Now, left to the state forces, as Professor Haokip was mentioning, there is an apprehension in the minds of the other side that they are acting at the behest of a certain community or in a manner that which is totally biased. Now, this is something that always remains as a triggering point in an ethnic conflict. It has happened in Rwanda that Hutus were attacking Tutsis, taking along with them the state forces. And in Vietnam also we have seen that the American forces, along with their stooges, were attacking Vietnamese population. So without going to the larger global context, in the context of Northeast or in the context of a riot situation, we have seen that police forces can become biased. Now we have to ensure that police forces and the state administration remain completely neutral. They should take the side of the victim. They, at the same time, should stop any kind of letting out through a very massive process of violence. Here, the violence has been massive. It is the scale of this violence is very big, and it reflects a kind of a mirror image of all that had happened in the near past, maybe in the valley area or certain other areas. So this has become a complete division between one community and the other community, which is the most unfortunate thing. And therefore, the neutral umpire, the ombudsman, or the presence of the central forces were absolutely needed in More town. I don't know why Assam Rifles were not brought into picture and why it was left only to the state forces. Apart from that, all this has happened on a day when central government was seriously engaging itself on table with both Meitei groups as well as with Kuki groups. And there is some kind of a simmering, some kind of a silver lining of a solution that was coming forth. Again, one side opposed the proposed solution of the other side. The solution of autonomy is looked upon as secessionism or separatism. It's looked upon as a threat to the integrity of Manipur. So these are tricky political issues that get embroiled into mobilization of people, and that goes into the ground reality. That is there very much in what has happened. If we take the entire context of More, the firing that was happening from 2 days before, the continuous kind of firing, as Professor Haokip mentioned, in the foothill areas near the valley, and also the kind of operation that was carried out by the state forces. So all these have contributed to building up of a situation in an otherwise not so much impacted town like More.
Okay.
And then the question of Myanmar is hand, of course, as Professor Haokip rightly pointed out. I don't think that there is much of an external hand there, but that is a matter that security forces will be able to primarily locate and be precise on that. Yes.
Okay, Athuba. So one version is that security forces misbehave with the locals, and the second thing is, do you feel that the Kukis also feel that they are being subjected to violence in which state becomes partisan? That is their perception.
No, see, let's try to be a little, realistic and truthful in what we argue. Because see, when Mr. Thongkholal said that, they are justifying the, entrance of illegal immigrants. See, the recent detection of 718 immigrants. Okay, just keep aside that one. Let's go to 24 April of this year. 24 April of this year, where 2,187 illegal immigrants were detected, where, More or the Thongkholal district where More subdivision belongs is with the highest number, 1,147. And the state government cabinet subcommittee headed by one of the Kuki minister, Mr. Letpao Haokip, they decided to build a shelter home for all the immigrants for time being, considering the situation across the border. However, They protested against that, and many of them were already being permanently, building houses, permanent houses over there in the new Gamphazol area, in the Tengmukul, various part of Tengmukul, and they have been settling there without even, undergoing the due procedure. And since that day, when the 2,187 illegal immigrants were, detected just on the first phase of the, detection process, since that day, 24 April 2023, that is just 10 days before the May 3rd violent incident. So they are now trying to justify all sort of illegal activities which they have been continuing for the past 25 years, since 2008. Since the day, the signing of the agreement of the suspension of operation with those, narco-terrorist Kuki militant groups. And, the government of India's mistake is that they are legitimizing, they are giving legal protection to all those militant groups who are the primary actor in this violence, which is very unfortunate. And above that, the recent Moray, incidents, it is after 85 days of arsons and killings in Manipur. After 85 days, I think by this time everyone must be in complete 100% alert. The intelligence, the security forces, even everyone. The media also now reached Moray. So how could that kind of violence be let happen under the supervision of the entire security personnel which are deployed in Moray? So we need to look in that part also, because the state forces and the central forces seems to be holding back in controlling such kind of situation. If they keep on letting this kind of situation happen, how on earth are we going to look forward for a peaceful resolution? This is very unfortunate. Therefore, I think what Mr. Thongkholal said about justifying the, coming in of illegal immigrants, if they keep justifying this kind of act, then I think they are violating the law of the land. They are, overruling or kind of, disrespecting the law of the land. So I think that's very unfortunate.
Okay, I didn't see you. Mr. Haokip, you wanted to come in?
Yeah, we never justify, people coming from the other side of the border. First I must correct Sri Khuraizabathoba that there are no illegal immigrants in Manipur. If there are illegal immigrants, the term itself says that there is a law in India that could deal illegal immigrants. Those people you have notified or you have counted them, they are basically refugees. They are not seeking citizenship in India. They are running into the other side of the border because they have been pushed out by a civil war in Myanmar. So that we have to understand. As the biggest or the largest democracy in the world, don't we have any space left to shelter them, give them a refuge for few months or few years, and they will go back. Just a few meters walk away from such border areas would be Myanmar or they. So we all know that situation, that dire, desperate situation. And from the start of the civil war in Myanmar, we have been saying that let's give them some, legal identity to stay for a while, like in Mizoram. But the Manipur government was so unwilling for the last 2 years, and eventually Minister led Haokip was able to convince the chief minister. And while there was in the process, this unfortunate, ethnic violence started. And it's not too late also. Now, instead of calling them as illegal immigrants, we can start numbering them. We can start giving them identity cards, and eventually we can also monitor them instead of calling them, or instead of name calling and uh, debating upon the situation of those desperate people. We can give them some rations. We can give them temporary shelters to stay there for another year or two. Then, when the civil war in Myanmar, comes down a little bit, then they will go back. there's nothing hard about it. And the Sagyang Valley, and other places, it's a nice place, a nice valley where people could earn a lot of living from such commercial enterprises and other, paddy cultivations. So, people would go back immediately, and those areas are a cultural area of the Kuki Chin Mizo communities, and people definitely would walk in another parts of the region. For instance, a person in Morea would walk in Tamu and come back in the evening and take rest as an Indian citizen. So this kind of relations, commercial and other relations, we have forgotten that. And it's not just the Kuki-Chin ethnic group that are having ties with the other side of the border. Look into the Myanmarese Kathes. There are about 40,000 Kathes still there who are Burmese Meitei. And since the civil war started in Myanmar, we don't know yet, but there will be many many of them who have fled Burma and settled in Imphal Valley also. You know, uh, uh, if you look carefully into the population also, you find even Manipuris are also migrating, or there are illegal immigrants from the Kathe community also in Imphal. This is not just the case of the Kuki Chins also. It's the case of the Manipuris also. I have known from the last 30 years that there are many Kacharis, Selites in the last 30, 40 years who have come from Kachar, Sylhet, way back to Imphal Valley, and they are settled in this place called Chekon and other places. We all know it. Let's not pretend that there's no illegal immigrants from on the other part of the on other community. Every community has that. Even the Tangkhul community has some of its population on the other side of the border, that is Myanmar. So this kind of relationship we all have, and let's not demonize, or let's not otherize the one specific community in this trouble. So that's my point. And let's deal the issue as per the law of the land. Or if there's no law, then we can discuss with the Home Ministry and create certain things that could accommodate or acceptable to the communities of Manipur. That we have to frame it and bring it out, rather than blaming all the time to a certain community.
Okay. Mr. Tuba? Yeah, please come in.
Yeah. See, what Mr. Thongkholal said, I think there is too much of, wrong facts. What I told was a report from the Cabinet Subcommittee itself. They were surprised to see that every refugees have been living in a well-built cottages and houses. When the Cabinet Committee recommended and advised for staying in the shelter home, they protested and they were against that. Number one, it's a Cabinet Committee report. Number two, when we talk about the Kathe, the Meitei peoples in Myanmar, they don't have any issue with the present ruling Myanmar regime. So there is no question of flooding their area. It is only the Chin Kuki people and the other PDF and the CNF people who are CDF people who are having the problem. So Kathe has nothing to do with that part. So there is no reports of one single Kathe being taking refuge in Manipur or any other parts of the beyond Myanmar. And regarding
can we conduct
regarding
no,
I didn't interrupt you. I didn't interrupt you, please.
There are reports that in
Mr. Haokip,
I didn't interrupt you, please.
Haokip, please. You have been part of my program for such a long time. Let him complete. Let Mr. Tuba complete. Then you please.
Yeah. See, here I have a letter. I have a letter from the Ministry of Home Affairs. I have a letter from the Ministry of Home Affairs saying that one of the leaders of the Sioux groups, the ZRA, the chairman of ZRA, Mr. Thanglian Pao Guite, he was an MP in 1990 in Myanmar. And he became a citizen of India in 1995. And he even possessed an Indian passport. And his name is already in the voter list. Therefore, the Ministry of Home Affairs has written a letter to the state government whether he has, gone through the proper procedure as per the Citizenship Act as to how the person who was an MP in Myanmar in 1990s, just after 5 years, he holds an Indian passport and become a citizen in India, and now he is one of the top leaders of the suspension of operation groups who are going on political dialogue with the government of India. In this part, the government of India and the Home Ministry also has very much responsible in this recent violence, because they are legitimizing such kind of people from across the border. If this is the situation, why don't we allow the chairman of the Lashkar-e-Toiba and the Mujahideen from the across the border and come into India for a political dialogue? Why didn't the government in India apply the same logic? This is very unfortunate, and we also must, that is why we have been appealing the Union Home Ministry that a leader from across the border who had not even been declared outlawed, who had not even been banned officially, was being taken on board for a political dialogue. So this is the root causes, and we need to discuss these dynamics also in a depth. I think so it has to be, discussed in another session as well, thoroughly.
Okay, Mr. Haokip now, please.
Okay, the dealing of the Home Ministry towards ZRA is, we can say that somewhat, mild, because they are fighting for constitutional rights of their people, the citizens in Manipur or other parts of the country, because that's very different from the Mujahideen or other groups who are fighting for sovereignty or slicing a part of the territory of India with Pakistan or with the intention of forming a sovereign country. It's very different, because the ZRA, they are fighting for certain constitutional provisions within the Constitution of India. So that's very different from what you compare, because you are comparing apples and oranges. So so you can't compare, despite being, whether the citizenship of Thongkholal Pao is Indian or not. It's not up to me to comment. There is a law within the Indian Constitution to deal with such kind of problems. I have no problem in detecting illegal immigrants and dealing as per the law of the land. We have to do it. We have been saying that we need to deal with illegal immigrants as per the law of the land. But there are desperate people. There are refugees who are seeking shelter for the time being. If they don't want, a kind of provision provided by the state government or central government, then it's fine. Let them stay in their own constructed houses. But you can provide the kind of data that they have been settled here in this village, providing the details, even the Burmese identity cards and others, so that they can be detected. And when there is a kind of peace restored in Burma, then we will ask them formally to go back to their own country. So there's not a problem whether they have constructed their own house or not. It's about keeping the data about their whereabouts, their identity, their for instance the biographic data, which we are insisting newly. Of course, it has been opposed by many of the activists, but despite that, those data can be kept, and then let them stay for a while, and the Assam Rifles and any other central forces could monitor them, and they could they could be peacefully placed in the border areas of Manipur and Myanmar. So that's my take. So if you ask, or if you say that Thongkholal Pao is a Burmese citizen, then let the Home Ministry deal with it. And since they are not demanding or
Mr.
slicing
Haokip,
a part
can
of
I come
Manipur
in?
territory into
Can I
Myanmar,
come in?
the Home Ministry has been talking with them and trying to deal with the situation.